Okay, I thought I'd talk to you while I'm making my breakfast and while I'm making Lily's breakfast. So I have been struggling the last months. No, that's not true. I've been struggling since I came back from Dom and Her, and I realized that people don't get that what it's really like to move to the next greater whole. So enjoy my olive oil while I go get Lily's bowl. That's what I mean by my olive oil. So I realized that we go quiet. We don't share, and we don't do observings. And the one thing I do every time I'm confronted by having to that my system is now scaled up. We think that most people think you have a problem, but the truth is when the system scales up, there's three very strong evidences. One evidence is that you don't know what to do. The second evidence is you don't know where to go. And the third evidence is you don't you feel usually worn out or exhausted. Your mental capacity lowers, your physical capacity lowers, and for most people their emotional capacity lowers. Mine doesn't do that anymore. For the most part, it has its meltdowns, but it resets itself. So my weariness usually occurs in my physical and my mental capacity when I'm in shifts. So when I came out of Dom and Her, I had scaled up to include more. And George asked me a question today, well, when is it not that? And that bottom line, it's never not that. It's always moving to the next greater whole. What happens is we interrupt our natural system and we go into our adrenaline state and we push and push and push and push to because we think there's an answer out there, not that we're spiraling into the next level of being. That's why the templates are critical. Like, it's been very intense. I don't. All my thoughts about not being a good writer torment me because I'm pushing to drill down to write in a fiction way, but in a very deep, catalytic way. I don't know a damn thing about the level of creative artistry I want in the webinars, and Jackie's in a severe learning curve, although she's very talented in what she does. I live between two homes. I ended up having to pay the government a lot of money. I cut back in readings, have been doing that for years, a few years, because I knew in my direct connection with creation, that's what there was for me to do. But there's a certain panic making about it, even though it never shows up like that in the books. So there's a stress on the system when you're no longer in the reality that you'd accommodated yourself to. And it's particularly hard with sensitives and empaths because that's the only way their systems work. People that are more, have suppressed themselves with the mental construct, have dominated themselves or controlled themselves, they may not feel the movement of creation the way an empath or a sensitive does. I'm taking Lily her food. Here's her food. All right, let's see if you can eat a little bit more today. Yep. And I'm getting out my yogurt and strawberries. And coming back to you. Yogurt, I strongly recommend it. It's delicious. And strawberries. So I actually don't know how to get around not doing the templates because you can't track with the mind that thinks something's wrong. So you have to be able to track with the mind that thinks that something is, that the mind that demos, the mind that demos moving to the next greater whole. So the hardest thing for me is when I'm fatigued. I'm not really, because I walk 2 to 4 miles a day, but so I'm not really challenged, physically challenged like I was a couple of years ago. Okay, sorry. But I am fatigued. I have to show you my wonderful knives. I don't know if you can see it. Let's see. There it is. Isn't that gorgeous? Beautiful. And, but I'm fatigued because my whole system is in a state shift. And I love it. People say, well, you've been traveling so much and, you know, you're old and you have a lot on your plate. As if I should not have a lot on my plate and I should not be traveling. But that's not it. The purpose of our biological systems is you stress it, just like myofascia. You stress it so it can accommodate you stress it with what you're moving into until it can accommodate you in that stress, just like an athlete or a creative artist. Creative artists always have meltdowns. And so it's not the system you were born into I'm talking about. It's a system of tracking you while you're in the between, like in the Dragons of Pern, when you're in between your, what's the word I want? When you're in between one configuration of reality and moving into the next configuration of reality. And that I have found that people don't do the observings. It's fine to even not do the cravings. If they don't do the observings, they become at the effect of their transition, but even more than that, they're not connecting into their direct connection with creation. So you could say that the dragon can't grab them. The dragon can't hold on to them. When I went somewhere to visit a god, found out about all the shenanigans that are going to happen over these next years. I reached down for my friend, and I couldn't get over how sticky she was. And we're sticky. We stick to the realities that we hold to be true. And if we don't have a mindset that can loosen us up from those realities, we basically stay stuck in them. So let me try to, I'm gonna post a couple of my observings because they show you my mental state. They show you the scream of the personhood that doesn't know its ass from a hole in the ground and what it's moved into. So I don't know what you're going to do, because even if you're not going to do the templates or not going to do the cravings, you're at the effect of your prior existing reality, and your system has accommodated it, and your perception of self is organized by it, and you have no way to observe except, you have no way to, unless you can observe, and I'm largely now an observer, but unless you can observe and track and trace, like they do in Damaher, and they do in alchemical and magic-based societies, then you are basically trying to figure out, hold on, let me go get my trash can. The other part of that is why the observings are so great, as you'll see when I post my two. Yeah, I don't know, I'll maybe just post one. I'll see which one. So you all don't have to read all my stuff. Oh, so good. Is that the identity needs a place to have residency. So the observer observes its identity. So observing, I just want to scream and lay down and never get up again, has me be present to the stress of the shift I'm in, being present to the stress of the shift I'm in has opened me up into giving myself a break. Opened up into giving myself a break has me have how to move with the intensity of what is occurring. So the observing structure itself has you move into an organized energetic matrix rather than an at the effect matrix. Does that make sense? So it has you move into a state of, yes, that's what's happening, and it reduces the, what do I do? Where do I go? What's wrong? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And a lot of you, just because in the field of Tantra Mat, it's an organized field of oneness and unity and wholeness, where the propensity for the people in the field is to move that way. The potentiality in the field is for people to move with so above, so below, and the ability to be set free. So we're confronting now. I did a webinar for the architects. First time in my whole life I had something I was producing so fail on me I had to quit it. Which also indicates that if you think of the spiral, if you look at the spiral and you think about the dragons of Pern that I wrote about, and the dragons of Pern, so good, and the dragons of Pern, hold on, let me give Lily my yogurt dish, my yogurt box. Is a demo between, like the spiral, where you're moving to the next greater whole, and you move into a diffused state. You move into a void, an emptiness. How many of you have done spiritual practices, and in those spiritual practices, you were told that you must be able to handle the void? Well, hello. So this next few years we're moving into is void-based. So it would be wise to not be addicted to your own reactivity, because we are addicted to it. It gives us, our bodies, our identities need to know they're alive. So in the old system, how you kept saying, I'm alive, is you reacted and you suffered and you hurt. It's not like I'm not in an intense place, and it's not like my brain is so diffused I can barely concentrate on things. But the difference is that I know it's a natural process, and I'm in the natural process because I've studied it and I've moved with it, and it always works this way. It never works another way. And I remember in foods for a long, I'm just now, the big thing for me right now is I've been working to get the capacity to eat properly. Not to enforce eating properly, but to get the capacity to eat properly. And one of the shocking things, when I finally started tracking, remember tracking calories, and I used Weight Watchers for points, and I went back into the calories for my other system, I have not even been eating 1,200 calories a day. And then when I get really hungry, that's why I've been trying to cut back what I'm eating. But then when I get really hungry, I obviously eat sugar and pass out for 3 days, and not really pass out for 24 hours. And now I can take in the information. But up until then, eating sugar was my reactivity to survive the reality of separation. And so we've got to get off our case, and we have to be meta-scientist. We have to be alchemist. We have to understand that we must return to our natural systems, then there are bad days. There are. Unless you're always keeping your adrenaline high and then one day you crash and you never get up again. Hey, there are bad days. There are days where you can't remember what you're supposed to do, and there are days when you wonder what the purpose of your life is. And I really mean it. I've never seen, I think our system is broken to be able to scale up. So we end up in some kind of, what is it? Not purgatory, limbo. And a lot of you are moving into limbo, and you need that direct relationship with creation to move you to the next greater whole. I really noticed it yesterday. I had a miracle happen, real miracle. Someone I adore who's skilled beyond belief in what I need for the webinars actually said that he would look at doing it. I would have thought I would have been excited, but I'm so in the void. I'm so in the things aren't yet sinking. There's lots of evidence coming in that new patterns, new matrices are forming, but I'm still in the lethargy of the who I was before, and I'm not yet in the actuality of what I am becoming. And I have the mind just like you that tells me I'm stupid, I'm old, why don't I just sit by the beach? How can I watch TV for 3 hours and not do this? I have that mind. But I track with the observings, because then I do the observings and I don't have to be so alert. And I mean that. We don't have to be so alert, so vigilant. We don't have to be we put pressure on our being so that it can spiral us into the next greater whole. But we do not need to put pressure on our identity. Our identity doesn't know its butt from a hole in the ground. It's just commenting. It's the running commentary. But it also is the energetics of our experience, of our internal challenges. The energetic of it is being picked up by the activity of creation, the energetic particles of creation. We only think we're saying words and have feelings, but creation picks it up in energetic particles. So in the time we've been together, moving towards May, we have been in the craving, creates, and then in the limbo of letting the system, through doing the observings and cravings, recalibrate itself. And now we're moving into craving being, because in craving being, you're being the field within which the reality that you're seeking occurs. You're not an identity moving around on a Monopoly board. There's probably a lot more I wanted to say, and it's on my mind all the time, because I track. I use the observings to track, not to say what's in my mind, but to find out what is the mind of creation. Not to say what's in my mind, but to find out what's in my mind of creation, to find out what's going on. Because it's never what my limited mind says. I can't figure out where in this video to look to see if I'm looking at you, so I apologize for that. It's because I have my iPad upside down. I love you. I'll post this.